Yo, JD here, Limitless, and as you can see on F1 2020 as always, and we are back with some league racing in the TSRL Championship. And we arrive at Sochi. Can't quite remember what round this is. I think it's round 17 in this championship, and I have a 46-point lead over SHZ Felipe, and then a bit more of a lead over LCR Leopard. So the story of this championship is that we started off with a great start and it's just been up and down from there, but throughout the season I've always seemed to outscore whoever is in second place in the championship at the time, and I've just been able to really, after my Baku and Zandvoort woes and a couple of other races, really just maintain and actually even extend that lead slightly from what it was. So we've just been very, very consistent, which is sometimes all you need in a championship. You don't need to win every single race. And I haven't won a race in this league for a while. I won the first 3 races and could have even won the first 5 with China, the wheel disconnect, and Zandvoort being on pole and then disconnecting from that. You know, it just shows that consistency really is key, and that's the thing that people struggle with on this game. You could be so fast, but momentum is such a powerful thing, and we've just been able to really keep up that momentum most of the time. But coming into this race, talking about Sochi itself, see in the Q1, Q2, we got through pretty comfortably, and this was kind of like Baku for me in TSRL, when in WOR, in the Monday League, I really struggled. But then I really turned it around on pace, and just for context, my PB was a 29.7 before Monday, and I ended up doing a 29.2 PB, so that's a half a second improvement. And going into this session, I was feeling very, very confident that I could really get my qualifying back on form here. And you can see so far we did a bank of a 29.6, which is not really too bad at all. But the lap itself, it's just a little bit lethargic, and when I mean that, just a little bit lazy, just not committed really, and just playing it a bit safe really. Just I wasn't even nervous or anything, and it didn't feel particularly bad, but just watching it back, especially now, I can just see that I was just braking that couple meters earlier, just a little bit hesitant on the throttle, and if you do that across all corners, it's going to add up to a loss in lap time, because in practice most of the time you don't care if you hit the wall, as I almost lose my voice, because there's no consequences, there's no championship at stake, there's nothing at stake. And you can see coming across the line, it's a 29.5, which only puts me P6 with Leopard, my rival in this championship. Well, he's in 3rd place, but still a rival, getting pole position here. But the good thing is SHZ Felipe didn't have a good quali, who's my closest rival in the championship. So we're in P6, not a horrendous position by any means or stretch. We're still well within the fight to win this race, and I did believe that. And I just know that my consistency in the race is something that normally always saves me. So I'm really, really hoping for a good start here. My main rival, one of my main rivals, on pole position. We've got 5 lights here. As they go out now, trying to get a good start. HX4K has actually disconnected from the race. He's trying to rejoin here, so we've already made up 1 position into P5, so that's good so far. But now we have VSR Dominic, who I think I say every single video, he is just someone who just does not concede, ever. Does not concede. He will use all his ERS on the first lap, and again, really hope he doesn't take that as an insult, but again, I think that's literally what he does. So we're going to try and fight this really hard, because I felt like I would have a better race pace than him, so I was really keen not to be pushed back, because my rival is in the lead. So we're going to go into this corner, and not going to lie, I was pretty aggressive there, pushed him out wide quite a bit, but we leave him just about enough room on the left hand side. But as he turns in, he hits the back wheel of my car, almost spinning out, and he loses out very, very badly there. But we maintained our P5 in this race, and yeah, that was a 50-50 moment. That was a little bit tricky, but I really didn't want to concede that position, because I felt I would have been faster than him in the race on race pace, and I can't afford to have a big gap between Leopard, who's winning this race, or Smasher is at the moment, I think Leopard's in second. I can't afford to be losing out big time in the championship. I want to keep this consistency going, and the corner before, I made a decision that I was going to be bold and quite aggressive, and then let him have the outside going to the right-hander, and I think he just tried to make it work, but it just didn't work. And I can confirm that there is no penalty for that incident deemed by the stewards here. So we are in P5, but now I'm in that tricky scenario again, which I always seem to mention the same things when I'm racing every time. But we have to get within this 6 or 7 tenths, because you just do not get the benefit from Citroen. You can see everyone else is quite close up ahead, and I think Lefted is having the same problem. He can't get quite within a 7 tenths of myself, and I just can't get within the 7 tenth mark of the guy ahead. And you'll be able to see with the delta, you can see how much time we are losing. We're losing 2 tenths just because the guy ahead, McCabe Sam, has a slipstream on Perondi. We're just not getting the benefit of that, and that's not put me in a great position, because that means I'm having to use a lot more of the ERS than I would have really liked in this race. You can see again, he himself is actually struggling, so we really need to get much closer just to get into that slipstream window, as I call it here. And I see we could gain a little bit more time here, so we're about 7 tenths here, trying to get a good exit, but I think we're about to see the delta once again. You can see it's 7 tenths going up here. DRS is an activated, but we didn't see it on that occasion. And now we're coming up to the back of Perondi, BRL Perondi, and we've left is still just about 6 tenths, but now we've got a safety car that has now come out, and I think Leopard, one of my rivals, is actually in the lead of this race here. So we're going to pit for the end of the race, and I was deciding whether to go on mediums or hards, but luckily I did quite a bit of running on the mediums, so I knew they were pretty durable. And you can hear me say we're going to go on the medium tyre here, because I think that was definitely the right decision to do. Hards would have been just too slow, and I would have just lost too much time at the beginning of the stint. So you can see a few people have continued who are already on the medium tyres. They're just going to continue on further into this race here, and we haven't jumped anyone, I don't think, so we're still in a net P5 in this race with a nice donation, trying to win this race, beast. I'm really that's exactly what I was trying to do. So as the safety car now comes in, throughout this whole race I was just driving, looking back on this, just quite conservatively, kind of like Singapore, where I really am thinking about the championship, and I think that doesn't really help you too much. But also another thing is just that this track I just didn't feel comfortable with. You just have tracks you don't feel good at, and although I did some good times in practice, I never felt ultimately comfortable around this circuit, and with the combination of those two, it just wasn't really a good combination. So I'm just driving not close to my potential at this point here, as VRT Raceway decides to let me go, which was very nice of him to do. And I know some people will probably say about the safety car restart, I always like to leave a little bit on the table, because there is a glitch where it will go full throttle and can spin out. Same with the virtual safety car as well. So, but you can see we are closing in quite quickly again. I knew I'd close in quite quickly because we are coming up to cars who haven't pitted yet, so we will be much faster than them. So I wasn't really too worried about losing the DRS really on this occasion. You can see we're in the DRS zone back again here, but I think we're going to stay on board, not for this lap, but a few more laps further than this, where these are really the key laps for me in this race, where it made a big difference. And you can see again, Raceway or Lefted hasn't been able to get past Raceway at this point as well. And you can see we're coming across some cars who haven't pitted. That's Leopard making some moves here, so he has got nothing to lose in this championship. He's got everything to gain, so he's making quite bold moves. You can see we're onto the back of VSR Smasher and McCabe Sam now, with my teammate a little bit further up ahead who hasn't pitted. So again, I knew I'd be catching him quite quickly, so I'm just trying to conserve my ERS as much as possible, try and get through the traffic with these guys, and then use any pace that I did have towards the end of this race here. And this is a really key moment, these next few laps, in this race for me, which, not gonna lie, not much has really happened so far. It's Sochi after all, but in terms of the championship, everything can change so quickly. So you can see here,
I have to wait for these guys to pit before I use my ERS.
exactly what I was thinking there. I thought there was no point attacking these people at all. They could just really easy defend right now because they have the DRS, or Smasher has the DRS on the car ahead. So he could really just counter my attack if I'm going to use the overtake. And then it's quite hard to actually save the overtake or the ERS deployment around this circuit as well. So I really am just thinking of the long game. But you can see Leopard is a little bit up the road here. And you can see he's not even in shot at the moment. So he's really getting through the traffic quite quickly, because I can confirm he actually has a 3-second time penalty, which I wasn't aware of at this moment in time, as I think that's McCabe Sam trying to make a move on, as I said, Felipe, who is second in this championship. So this man is my main rival as it stands right now, but he is effectively a pit stop behind because the safety car came out at quite a wrong time, as Smasher almost did a 360. That could have been very bad for me. That could have gone absolutely anywhere. Now it's put me under a little bit more pressure from VRT or VSR lefted, sorry, behind. So I'm trying to get a good exit. I was thinking about maybe doing a bit of an attack here, but again, with the slipstream, with the DRS here, he's got the DRS. You can just see it was never going to happen there. And you can hear me saying as well, there really is nothing I can do at this point. It's really about grid position around this track. You need to have a good grid position. And the lap wasn't even bad either, to be honest. It's just, I just struggle around this track. That's just how it is. I just really struggled right here, as Smash and McCabe have now got past SHZ Felipe, and now I need to get past them really as soon as I can. I can't afford for these guys to get multiple cars between me, but luckily the pit window is going to come up quite quickly for the people who are on the medium tyres in this race here, as we're going through the left-hander. Just try and stay as nice and close as possible, but again, going through into this corner, I'm quite close here, and maybe I could have attempted it, but you could see Felipe is using a lot of ERS, and with the straight not being that long, him having the DRS as well, it would just be a complete waste. So I think this was the right decision to stay behind. As you can see, McCabe Sam's really hustling the cars here of my teammate, actually, in fact, because these guys, they have nothing to lose. They're not in the championship fight. It's only really kind of mathematically, obviously, me, Leopard, and Felipe who find it. Says Felipe actually now decides to pit. So these guys can really take as many risks as they want, and I still really kind of had that championship cautiousness, really, if that's even a word. I was just really just trying to make sure I didn't get myself in trouble, didn't get any penalties, didn't get any damage or anything at all, and just try and rely on my 80% pace. You can see really hustling my teammate here. Now I'm behind my teammate, and just to let you know, we're not in the same party or in communication during this race or anything at all. So he has got his own race to run. Anything can happen here. Like a safety car could come out now and then he could pit for the softs. He'd be in a fantastic position. So there is no team orders in this team at all. I think he has let me pass on a few occasions, but right here he needs to get actually a good in lap to try and not be undercutted by the likes of Felipe and people such as that. So he's not going to let me past here. He's going to still drive his own race. He's got the DRS on the cars ahead. And again, I'm not really going to use much of my ERS. I tried to use a bit, but then quickly realised, you can see we didn't even gain anything whatsoever because he has the DRS and the slipstream up ahead here. And you can see the cars, it's actually sparked. So now I've got two cars between myself, McCabe Sam, and VSR Smasher. So that's really significant in this race. So you can see on the minimap, Leopard is just absolutely gone at this point. So he's got through the traffic. He was, he was the leader, so he was able to get through the traffic pretty well. As now my teammate now pits, and now I'm outside the second window of Smasher and McCabe Sam. So this is really crucial for my race. And now I've got Lefted up behind me, who's going to be pushing pretty hard to get past me, with Porondi quite close as well. But we move on to the end of lap 16. Sparks has now thankfully gone into the pits, and you can see, we really need to get within this DRS window, otherwise we're going to be under big pressure from behind. But again, getting a terrible exit off here. And I think that just sums up my feeling of this track. I just was not confident in this race. I was not driving well at all. Now I'm having to defend from left because I need to defend this. This is full position. This is absolutely full position. And the way I was driving, I wasn't confident that I was able to make an overtake. So he's going to go down the inside, going for this left-hander. I'm having to use the overtake, go around this outside. And it's crucial that I keep this move. This could be huge for this championship. I need to keep this move. And I know a lot of people might be thinking, why don't you just let him go? But if I let him go and I can't get back past, and I'm losing more time to the guys ahead, because the guys ahead are less than 3 seconds ahead, they could always get a penalty. And if I can keep my speed up, then I could benefit from that. So I'm just thinking of trying to pick up those positions, because if I just left it go, then that's just going to hold me up even more. But we are not driving well once again. Just not driving with confidence or commitment at the moment. And I was just doing my best to stay within that 3 second window. But as we're coming towards the end of lap 22, start of 23, Smasher is really trying to close in on Leopard for the lead. And McCabe, Sam and myself were quite equal on pace. But now I'm coming under pressure from HX4K, who has a 3-second penalty. So once again, he's going to try and make a move, but we just slammed the door shut, making sure I brake late so I don't get contact of him. And we didn't actually have contact there, because I knew, again, if I let him go, I felt like I was the same speed of him. I didn't really feel like he was faster. It's just that he has DRS, so he's going to get a really good run on me. And I thought, again, that would be cost me a chance, because you can see we were just on that 3-second window. So again, now I'm having to leave him just a little bit more room, because he was closer on that occasion. And now that has allowed McCabe Sam to get out of that 3-second window. So I'm just trying my best. I'm just thinking about picking up positions from the cars ahead. That is all I'm thinking about. So again, I saw a lot of people comment saying, why don't you let him go? But if I let him go, then that puts me vulnerable to lefted behind for a start. And there's no guarantee of me overtaking him. And also, if he gets past me, he doesn't have the pace, and then the guys ahead have a 3-second penalty, then I lose out on that. So right here now, I'm just trying to save all my ERS for this last lap to do a final charge. It's going to be a big ask to get back within the 3-second window of McCabe Sam. And you can see Smasher has driven away, and you can see Leopard's got really good pace as well. And I'm still coming under attack from HX4K, so he hasn't really got anything to gain from this, apart from really maybe pushing me into a time penalty. That's the only thing he's got to gain. And McCabe Sam actually has DRS on Smasher as well, so he's been dragged along by him. But the yellow flag has come out, and McCabe Sam has made a huge mistake. He has made a huge mistake, which has put me into P3 out of nowhere. And Leopard has a time penalty with Smasher within 3 seconds of that as well. So I knew now that we have a chance for maximum damage limitation in this race. Looking like a 12-point swing in the championship has now become 3 as it stays as it is here. So going into here, I'm using all of my ERS just to make sure I'm still ahead. But HX4K makes a mistake, which allows McCabe Sam to then overtake him here. So there's no chance of me getting P2 in this race. But if I could get a podium and Leopard gets demoted to P2, that's only me losing overall 1 point in this championship compared to, well, 2 points I think, because I was 46 ahead, or sorry, 3 points if I get my maths right completely. So I'll be losing 3 points. No, after him being on pole, me in 6th place, and him being 48 points behind, it could have been less than 40. I would take that all day, but it's not out of the woods yet, because McCabe Sam, this is the final DRS zone, and I decided to turn off my ERS because I thought this move was done. But he has a really late charge, so we have to go super defensive. We go to the middle of the track. He tries it down the inside, but it doesn't work for him. And I just held my line there, and he has not benefited from that. He took the risk and paid the price, unfortunately. We just held our line, and we have managed to stick it in P3. Let's see what happens with the lead of this race. Leopard crosses the line, and Smasher crosses the line. He gets promoted to 1st place, which means we come home in P3, only losing 3 points in this championship. And looking back at this now, this race where nothing really happened, those last 2 laps, defending from HX4K, from Lefted, and then McCabe there at the end, that could be huge for the championship. And instead of a 12-point swing, as I said, it's now only 3 points that I've lost, which, starting from 6th, Leopard on pole, around this circuit, which I'm really not a fan of, I would have probably taken that all day here. So I really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for the support. The stewards did not say anything. There wasn't even the stewards after the race, so I did get P3 in this race, which is, for me, it feels like almost like a win around this track considering the position we're in. So we move on to Suzuka. Really looking forward to that. That is tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. Thank you so much for the support on my videos, and I will catch you very soon. Peace.